Good evening, everybody. I will call to order. We have a couple of meetings here. So again, I'll call to order the Planning Board meeting of May 15th, 2023 here in the city of Summerside at 6:30 p.m. We'll begin all of our evening of meetings with a land acknowledgement, and we acknowledge that the land upon which we are gathered is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Abagway is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Land acknowledgement is a small but meaningful way to show respect, honoring the indigenous peoples of the land where we live. It's also a way of resisting the erasure of indigenous histories and an important step on the pathway towards reconciliation. I would call for a motion to approve the agenda as presented from one of the councilors. One of the planning board members, actually. Councilor Snow, second Councilor Duran. Any member of planning board opposed to the agenda? There being none, the agenda will continue. Conflict of interest declaration for any member of planning board. Again, hearing none, we'll move on to item 2, the recommendation with respect to 381 Notre Dame Street, discretionary use. Councilor Duran, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I'll get right into it, I guess. Recommendation for 381 Notre Dame Street, discretionary use. Supporting explanation. Purpose of the application is to allow a child care facility medium as a discretionary use in the medium density residential R3 zone. A discretionary use requires council approval. Child care facility means any facility where where child care is licensed by the province of PEI under the Child Care Facilities Act. And a medium child care facility means up to 50% of the floor area of a residential dwelling for care and supervision of 8 to 15 children for compensation, but shall not include overnight accommodation. Background: an application was received from Boys and Girls Club of Summerside, Inc. for 381 Notre Dame Street, PID number 304691. This application will require City Council approval to allow a child care facility medium as a discretionary use in the medium density residential R3 zone. And there's a layout of the subject property. The report under section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw: when planning board reviews a discretionary use, it has to consider the following general criteria as applicable. A, conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, the zoning bylaw. Staff comment: this application requires a discretionary use approval in the R3 zone in order to conform to this bylaw. If council approves the discretionary use for a child care facility, the applicant can proceed to obtain a building permit for change of building use. B, conformity with the official plan. Staff comment: the discretionary use conforms to the official plan. C, suitability of the site for the proposed development. Staff comment: this site is suitable for this development as the applicant is utilizing an existing building. D, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses. Staff comment: the property is zoned medium density residential R3. The surrounding land uses and proposed land uses are a mix of institutional I, medium density residential R3, and high density housing R4, which are compatible with the proposed discretionary use. E, any comments from residents or other interested persons? A public meeting was held on May 2nd, 2023. The public meeting notice was advertised in the April 19th edition of The Guardian. 42 letters were mailed to 32 property owners. Staff comment: no written comments were received prior to the public meeting regarding this application. The development officer received a few phone inquiries, 113 Duke Street and Cedar Street, requesting clarity on the application. At the public meeting, Adam Binkley, Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club, provided an overview of the proposed discretionary use. The program site, SITE, is targeted for children 8 to 15 years old and is a needed program and will be an asset to our community. No one from the public spoke at the public meeting. F, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking and parklands for accommodating the development and any projected infrastructure requirements. Staff comment: the existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services can accommodate this discretionary use. There is no city parking or parklands required. G, impacts from the development on pedestrian or vehicular access and safety, and on public safety generally. Staff comment, the property has an existing access on Notre Dame Street. Pedestrians have access to the existing sidewalk on the north side of Notre Dame Street. The intent is the children will be dropped off at the Boys and Girls Club at 106 Cedar Street, then will be escorted to 381 Notre Dame Street for the daycare program. H, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources. Staff comment, the development is compatible with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources. I, impacts on city finances and budgets. Staff comment, this application does not impact city finances or budgets. J, other matters as specified in this bylaw. Staff comment, there is no comment. And K, other matters as considered relevant. Staff comment, the applicant will be subject to a building permit. Staff review, city staff support the application for discretionary use to allow a child care facility medium in the medium density residential R3 zone. As per section 5.10, part B3 of the zoning bylaw, the planning board shall make a recommendation to council on this application before it is approved or denied. The planning board recommendation, whether carried or defeated, will be brought forward to council for a final decision. The planning board recommendation, the application received from Boys and Girls Club of Summerside, Inc. to allow a child care facility medium as a discretionary use in the medium density residential R3 zone be recommended to be approved by council. Moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Snow. Are there any questions? If not, call for the planning board vote. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none, so that is carried, and that will carry forward to Thursday, which is the 18th, May 18th, this week. And I believe that is all for now.
Thank you, Councillor Duran, Chair of Planning Board. At this point, I will adjourn the Planning Board meeting. The Planning Board meeting is now adjourned at 6:39 p.m. We'll move right into our monthly council meeting, so I will call to order the monthly meeting of council for May 15th, 2023, here being 6:39 p.m. We've made up some time. Thank you, Councillor. I will take a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Councillor Adams, second. Councillor McColman. Anyone opposed or any changes or revisions to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda will be carried as is. Conflict of interest declaration. Any councillor with a conflict of interest with respect to any item on the agenda? Hearing none, we will move on to the beginning of number 2. I also think it'd probably be appropriate for me at this point to welcome members of the public in the gallery and those of you joining online to our council meeting. Approval of minutes. So first we have a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First I will call, just remind councilors with respect to a moving or seconding and voting in favor of or making revisions to any minutes, you had to be at the meeting, and I think everyone was at each one of these, and there are a few different ones. So we'll begin with number A, monthly council meeting minutes of April 17th, 2023. A motion to approve those as presented. Councillor Gallant, second. Councillor Duran. All councillors in favor of adopting the minutes as presented? Any opposed or changes? Being none, those minutes are adopted. Next, B, special council meeting minutes of April 26, 2023. Motion from Councillor McDougall, second. Councillor Gallant. All in favor of adopting the special council meeting minutes as presented of April 26, 23, say aye. Aye. Any opposed or changes? There being none, those minutes are carried. Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023. Motion from Councillor Snow, second from Councillor McDougall. All councillors in favor of adopting the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of May 23, say aye. Any opposed or changes? None, those are carried. Planning Board minutes, meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023. This would be for Planning Board members. Motion from approval from Councillor Snow, second Councillor Duran. All the Planning Board members in favor of the minutes, say aye. Any opposed? I didn't hear you say aye too loudly, Rick, so I gave you a long chance there. Those would be carried and approved. Special council meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023. Counselor moved to approve those minutes. Counselor Adams, second. Counselor Snow, all in favor of those minutes? Any opposed? Those minutes are also adopted. The in-camera meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023. Counselor Snow, Counselor McColman, all in favor of those minutes? Any opposed? There being none, those minutes are also adopted as presented. We'll now move on to item number 3, accolades and recognitions. This is an opportunity for any counselor to identify anyone in the community or any group or organization that they wish to recognize. Councillor McColman.
Thank you, Your Worship and fellow councillors. This evening, we have 3 different nonprofit, very hardworking organizations, and they consistently serve Summerside residents and the greater community. And during our budget deliberations, Mayor and Council for Budget 23 approved a one-time community support grant to various organizations. So tonight we would like to present them with that funding. Just as a segue so people know, you will know when they come up, but they provide a great deal of support to through Meals on Wheels, seniors and seniors who have mobility situations and maybe live in isolation, with delivering hot meals to them on a regular basis. As well as the Salvation Army, they certainly provide food hampers, they provide hot meals, many needs during the Christmas season and whatnot. So that's something that Council wanted to just give them a bit of support on, simply because of the inflation and all the things that we know people are running into, many good, worthwhile organizations. And then the third one is the Summerside Christian Council. During very, very cold winter months, there's hot, warm breakfast served on a regular basis at the local churches around Summerside and area, as well as warming stations whenever the weather's very, very cold. A lot of times that's opened up for people to get a hot cup of coffee and a warming area. So tonight, on behalf of Mayor and Council, we just want to call these folks up and just say a warm thank you on behalf of the City of Summerside. And Mayor Dan, would you please help? So we'd like to call on Pastor Elaine Bray from the Salvation Army. The Summerside Meals on Wheels is Fran Gillis, the coordinator, and for the Summerside Christian Council, Reverend Colin Nicole.
Oh, sure, yeah.
In the center, Dan.
Yeah. The other, just to note, Councilor McColman, we also have Belinda Woods here from the Free Store. A number of community organizations will just mail checks directly. So you guys do, we don't usually do photos in the middle of council. We're gonna, I think, do that, and maybe get the rest of the councilors want to come up and do a quick photograph. We're gonna sit in the back, and Belinda, you should come on up too. Nor we're gonna just get everyone in here. That's right. Yeah,
So
that's okay.
I think, Dan, we might have to go center, and then we can have a couple people on the top, right? And then that way I can pick. So if you guys want to.
Bookends over here. We got bookends here.
Counselor Adams and Counselor Morrison, they've seen it.
Looking down on us.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go squish it. So when I meant squish, I meant closer. Yeah, nice and tight, and like you like each other, everybody.
Rick, get in here.
Nice and close, Rick, in.
Rick, put it right here.
All right, perfect. All right.
right? It's different.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah.
And then just to note there as well, to follow up, for a full list of community organizations who were recipients of the one-time community support grants, those are listed in the Summerside 2023 budget. Any other accolades, recognitions, photographs?
No photographs, but I think it's probably appropriate that we recognize our fellow councillor Bruce and his lovely wife Nancy, who just celebrated 50 years of marriage. Unfortunately, I was not in town and couldn't attend the celebration, but 50 years of marriage is very impressive, especially for Nancy. Yeah, so congratulations to you both.
Thank you very much. Quite a sentence. I got through it. I did have one. I shouldn't, but I'm going to. I just wanted to send condolences out to all the Toronto Maple Leaf fans. Just head.
Thank you, Council. Now we're going to move on to item 4, public presentations, petitions, delegations. This evening, as Council, as you know, and members of the public may be interested in knowing, what we try and do at this stage is try and invite organizations and individuals in our community who are doing interesting things, doing good things, doing things that impact our community, so that Council has an opportunity to hear about what's going on. And today we have EPIC, which is the East Prince Integration Committee. So we have a few people presenting today, and they're going to walk us through what EPIC does and share with us some thoughts on some things they want to do next. Come on up.
Okay. Could I do a quick presentation first? On Friday, we had our big grand opening for our new office and for newcomers, Ursa, and we had this award to present, and I guess it was meant to present tonight because it didn't happen on Friday. So if I could present this to Mayor and Council. Yeah. And could I include Kirsten, because she was a big part of my being, it's for when my office was here for very many years. Kirsten was always my go-to person, and she was always so willing and kind in everything that I was doing, so. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's very nice.
I guess so.
I just want to take.
Yeah.
Sandra left us.
All right.
Thank you for everything. I'll just give it back to him. This chair is low. Emma?
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me today. It's really my honor to be here the second time. The first time when I joining the swearing-in ceremonies, I was the only one immigrant here, and it's my honor to be here again to present the EPIC, Sprint Integration Committee. We are the working group that is a partnership between the settlement service organizations, provincial department, municipalities, and community leaders that have come together to support our new residents in Summerside and East Spring regions. Our vision is to create a place where people of all backgrounds can fulfill their dreams and participate fully as community members. The committees was started in the summer of 2019 from the idea of small group of service providers, including Belinda Woods and Melanie Bailey from Immigration Refugee Service Associations, and Jody Henry from National Bank. In November 2019, the group has gathered 142 partners at the credit unions to discuss the region's population's growth opportunities. And from that, we have the initial list of EPIC members. Until now, our members are from the Immigration Office, URSA newcomers, PI connectors, Department of Economics and Population Growth, Rural Economic Development, CBDCs, Construction Associations, ACOA, Chamber of Commerce of Summerside, and representatives from 3 newcomers communities, namely Vietnam, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. We prioritize the community needs and recruit new members to diversify our insight. Also, we invite our guest speaker to share their expertise to emerging needs like housing, mental health, immigration pathway, youth support, to provide our members with up-to-date knowledge. Each year, we develop an action plan highlighting the key issue that we have heard from our networks and the things that really matters to our clients. We want to see developments in our regions based on the needs of the communities. Each member will advocate for the item that they can make impact on, and at the end of the year, we wrap up and identify the needs for the new year. Regarding our meeting schedule, we meet bi-weekly on the second Thursday, usually from 10 to 12. Since the pandemic, we mostly meet virtually, and until last year, we had a couple of sessions in person. With the common goal of supporting Summerside and East Spring residents and newcomers, our EPIC member would try our best to connect and advocate for initiatives that benefit the whole community. So now I would like to pass on to Kaylee to introduce the exciting big proposed event for this September. We came to us from the communities as something that is needed. Thank you.
Oh, this is low. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. You'll see Mario and Luigi here. I did not have childcare. Maybe I'll wait for the boys and girls club to put their childcare in place. But if they run in, I apologize. And I just want to thank the staff here because they're absolutely amazing for being so accommodating. So I'm part of the Summerside Chamber of Commerce. I joined EPIC when I joined the Summerside Chamber of Commerce in October. And since then, it's just a thriving group of people that just want to make a difference. If anyone was at URSA's opening on Friday, it's apparent that we are growing here in Summerside. And in order to grow and retain the people here, we want to focus on the youth. So we decided to come together to put together a community event that can focus on youth integration in the community in order to keep families here and deepen roots in the community. Our focus on this event is to run an event at the Cup from 11 to 5 p.m. We want to do it in September after school already starts. And our focus is how can we get families integrated in the community? And the best way we can do that is showcase what we already have. We have amazing services here. People just don't know about them. And newcomers, in order for them to try to navigate themselves, we're asking a lot. So we want to expose them to the different sports, the different community organizations like Generation XX, Boys and Girls Club, show them what their children can go out and do and start integrating into our community in order to focus on retention. So as you can see in this one page, I cheated because it's double-sided. I was told a one-pager, but I kind of got around that. Okay. Okay, so location would be the Cup and Dome. We're looking to do an opening ceremonies. We're looking to have the mayor come, welcome everyone, and invite, here's Luigi here. You're gonna say hi?
Oi.
Hi, okay. We are going to invite all of the different groups to this event. the Filipino community, we just went to the Asian Heritage Month celebration. We'd want to invite all the different community leaders to participate, speak, and have a stake in this event. We would then have from 12 to 5 on your sheet right here in the yellow box. From 12 to 5, we'd be focusing on live music. We want to bring live music, dance, showcase all the amazing. You're thirsty? Okay, I'll help you in a second. We would showcase all of the amazing things that the cultures bring to Summerside and have set up for food stations and events. Then we would also run simultaneously different groups throughout the dome and the cup. So we would want to use the facility to showcase the rec centers that we have. We have an amazing facility and we want to show it off. We want to have kids experience hockey or skating for the first time and sign up right then and there for the ongoing Ken skate programs or hockey programs. We'd want people to try chess. There's chess that runs every Wednesday night. Maybe people don't know about that. Have an opportunity to sign up right there. We'd invite our local library to set up to showcase the amazing programs that they already have. So and we're using this one event as a launch pad on how can people get integrated into the community from here on out for the rest of the year. And we plan on having this as an annual event. So at the back of the page, you'll see what our asks are. There's amenities within the facility we would like to show off Summerside. We also, I think it might be in it's in yours? Okay. There's updating and circulating Summerside Youth Services. Belinda will speak about that shortly. But we have these facility programs and these community services that we just want to get out in the public in an annual way in order to help people notice that Summerside is the place that they should be and that they should stay and that they can find their community here. I'll pass it over to Belinda.
This is something that I have wanted and hoped to do for a very long time. Working with newcomers into my 13th year, a lot of times I'm approached and asked for different things. And this is one thing that we need. So basically, I just want people to come and fall in love with our city the way that we do. Show them what is available. We need, and just, I know we're talking a lot about newcomers, but we mean newcomers from other provinces as well. It's not just newcomers to Canada. But speaking of the newcomers to Canada, we have 137 international youth in Summerside, and they're looking for things to do. When they approach me, like, where is this and where is that? I don't always know. I don't know if it exists. But I did years ago, when Michelle Askew was in HR, I'm sure some of you would remember her, they put together Summerside Youth Services Directory. It was produced by the city through the Safe Communities and Crime Prevention Committee, and it was done back in March of 2012. It has all the things that we would love to know that still exist. It has a full, it's 49 pages? Yeah, it's 49 pages, but it has all the organizations, everything that you would hope and look for youth, but it's 13 years old, or 11 years old. So we would like to know if it's possible to work with someone to update that. That would be the give back for the city, and also it's an ability, it gives us the ability to be able to let anybody that's here know what is available. Because I hear like different organizations like the Kinsmen and the Y Service Club, they're looking for members all the time. We don't know how to reach out to them and tell them because we don't always have the contact. So the need is there, and there's people. We're hoping that this event helps put everybody together. It'll strengthen our community, and it'll certainly help with retention if people are looking for something and we find out that it's already here. This is something that we really hope to partner with you because it is for the city as well, but we have a lot of access to names and contacts that would help to bring this event to a bigger outcome. So the proposed event cannot be done by just a few of us, so we will need to recruit a lot of people into this. And we're asking, you see it at the bottom, the little sneak peek of what our ask is. I'm just going to make it a quick summary, is any available spaces at the Cup, including the Dome, permission to bring in cultural foods, sell at a small cost to cover food and food licensing that they'll have to get, and $2,000 in seed money to get us started, and that will be like doing a lot of the promotions. We will then, if this partnership gets approved, we will then go out and look for other funding to make this like a bigger event. And what we're asking is each person that comes on board and has a booth, that every booth needs to be interactive. There's nothing more annoying than going through and just having information at a booth. It's like, just don't even come. So if it's the Boys and Girls Club, then we're going to ask them to do an activity. If it's the Tennis Association, then they're going to show people how to play tennis. Everything has to be interactive and engaging for the youth, or there's really not a lot of sense to do it. So that, in summary, is what we're looking for, to have this as an annual event, have it big and grand, and people talk about it all year, and are looking forward to it next year. And I guess bring more attention to the city and the services that it provides. And we're on board to do it, so we hope that you're on board to support us. Thank you.
Great, thank you for the presentation. What might be helpful now is, I think maybe a chance for councilors to ask any questions following the presentation, and then we can take this away and work with staff, and then come back to you with respect to the specific. We're not going to go through the specific asks right now, but now is to get a chance to get a feel for what it is, and really appreciate you making this presentation. Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, ladies. Very good presentation. Am I missing something, or did you give me a date? Did you say the date?
Sorry, we did. Yeah, it's September 16th to the 17th, that weekend.
So I met with JP just on the date specifically.
Okay.
We're looking at the weekend of the 16th and 17th. We're looking to work around what's already scheduled in the facility.
Okay.
We are looking for one ice rink. One has already been booked out for previous accommodation. I know the Kidney Foundation also has something on that weekend. So we'd be looking at the date that the Kidney Foundation does not have something at the facility.
Right. Okay. No, I thought I missed that or something. But you're looking for other funding also? Okay. Is there any request in for government funding? Or?
We wanted to pass it through and make sure that we have partnership here, and then we were going to go to see other funding. The other funding, essentially we want to do this a brand new or free event for everybody to attend, and we're looking to get talent in for the cultural event itself, and be able to provide money for Indigenous dancers, or maybe Richard Wood to come in and showcase. So the fundraising or the sponsorship would be going towards the entertainment that we host in-house.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Any other questions from council? No? Great. Well, thank you very much. I think certainly, I think it would be useful for everyone to be able to have all the groups and services and service clubs and organizations all together at one point in time, and showcase all the wonderful things that we're doing here, and be able to have exchange of information both ways. So we're going to look forward to seeing where we go next. We'll make sure to take this away as council, and then get some direction from staff, and then reach out, and I'm guessing we'll try and do that as quickly as possible, just given the tight timelines. And I know it's great having the Greater Summerside Chamber of Commerce involved, which has a fantastic track record of putting together events and bringing community together, and all of the Broad Epic group that you're speaking about today.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I apologize for the chaos that I bring, but
Oh, there's never need to apologize for there being kids here. Kids are very welcome at City Hall.
I appreciate it. Are you ready to go? Maybe you're gonna be up behind those seats someday, huh?
We'll move on now to item 5, appointment to committees. There are no appointments for today. Moving on then to item 6, introduction and reading of bylaws and resolutions. So just for everyone who's here, Councillor Duran will be on for resolutions A, B, C, D, and E on the agenda. Councillor Adams for F, and Councillor McDougall for G, H, I, and J. Councillor Duran, over to you.
Okay, thank you again, Your Worship. And as I scroll down to where I should be. Okay, I'll just dig right in here. I guess there will be, like you said, 5 resolutions. So resolution COS 23-063, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Gallant. Whereas an application was received from Strategic Enterprises, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 73536 from single-family residential R1 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 0081A, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read a first time at the council meeting held on April 26th, 2023. And whereas, in accordance with Section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking and parklands for accommodating the development, and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian or vehicular access and safety, and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources, impacts on city finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, and other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 0081A, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a first time. This bears the recommendation of the Planning Board meeting held on May 2nd, 2023. Schedule B is attached, showing the subject property. So it does, I was trying to get the procedure here down earlier. So there's
I
the
just wanna
second reading.
I'm sorry, just going to
Sure.
interrupt you for a second, Councillor. Just with respect to this bears the recommendation of Planning Board held May 2nd, 2023. We just passed those minutes. That Planning Board motion we had a 2-4-2 against. So should that, I guess, is a question for staff. Should that say, does this bear to me, it doesn't bear the recommendation. There's no recommendation of Planning Board as to May 2nd. It was carried. It always comes through. It moves forward to council, but it was a 2-2 planning vote, move forward without recommendation. So just that section, I said this bears the recommendation. I guess it should say this bears no recommendation of planning board. Does that be the proper language? Yes? Okay. Or without a recommendation?
Okay.
And I think that's on the next one as well. I think that's just
I will try to remember it when I get to the next one. There, I wrote it in. So just for clarity, in order to get to the formal adoption, which is in any resolution, like the main vote, whether it's carried or defeated, the second reading does have to be passed. Now, is that, JP, can you, okay. So that second reading was moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Gallant. Are there any questions on that or anything? No? Okay, so we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the second reading say aye. Aye. All opposed? So that carries, and now we will move into the formal adoption, which is COS 23-064. Again, needs a mover and a seconder to reach the floor. Moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Corey Snow. Whereas an application was received from Strategic Holdings, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 73536 from single-family residential R1 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 0081A, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at 2 separate meetings of council held on different days. Be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 0081A, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Nay. Can we please get a show of hands maybe so we can get the correct count? Who voted yay? 1, 2. And nay? And 5 nay. JP, just to confirm, we still will go into the second reading of 0081B.
Confirmed.
And carry on as we did, okay? Resolution COS 23-065, moved by myself, seconded by, trying to make out the signature, Deputy Mayor Snow. Whereas an application was received from Strategic Enterprises, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 72421 from single-family residential R1 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 0081B, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read a first time at the council meeting held on April 26th, 2023. And whereas in accordance with section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking, and parklands for accommodating the development, and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian or vehicular access and safety, and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources, impacts on city finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 0081B, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a second time. This bears no recommendation of the Planning Board meeting held on May 2nd, 2023. Schedule B is attached, showing the subject property. Any questions? We'll move on to the vote for 0081B, the second reading, moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Snow. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Carried. Resolution COS 23-066, 674 Water Street East zoning amendment 0081B, formal adoption. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Morrison. Whereas an application was received from Strategic Holdings, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 72421 from single-family residential R1 zone to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 0081B, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at 2 separate meetings of council held on different days. Be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 0081B, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. Nay. Can we please get a show of hands one more time for that one? The yay, one. Yay? One. One yay and nay. Two for yay, Councillor Morrison, Deputy Mayor Snow. And the nay? 5. Resolution is defeated. Resolution COS 23-067, 60 Water Street Mobile Sales Establishment, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Barbara Gallant. Whereas Trent Murphy is requesting council approval in accordance with Section 13 of the licensing bylaw CS21 to operate a mobile sales establishment, Go Fish Eatery at 60 Water Street. The property owner is the City of Summerside. And whereas Section 13 of the licensing bylaw provides that council shall allow or refuse an application based on the following considerations: safety, desirability, impact on established businesses in the city, public convenience, and such other considerations as it deems appropriate. Be it resolved that council grant approval to Trent Murphy to operate a mobile sales establishment, Go Fish Eatery. The license is subject to the following conditions: paying a license fee of $1,000 for a non-local business as per licensing bylaw CS21 regulations. A food health permit is approved by the province. Litter disposal containers are provided on site. Hours and days of operation, 11:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. daily. Letter or letters of permission from property owner or owners for proposed location, and connection of any pipe, hose, etc. to the city system requires city approval. This bears the recommendation of the Planning Board meeting of May 2nd, 2023. Are there any questions?
I think with that, I think we just would ask that if approved, that it be mindful of where it's placed so that the parking is still adequate for those wanting to use the boardwalk.
Noted. And just for clarity, I guess the property in question is the across from, I guess, Staples, where the parking lot is to sort of get onto the boardwalk, next to, I think it's Casely's Auto. Okay, so moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Barbara Gallant. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor McCollum.
Just about the placement, Councillor Dwaron, I believe in the application they did indicate that they would, whatever the city would consider an appropriate location, they would be willing for that.
Right, yep, oh, I remember that as well, so. Anyone else? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none, so that resolution is carried. And that is all for me, Your Worship. I will hand things back over to you.
Thank you, Councillor, and pass them right off to Councillor Adams.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Resolution COS 23-068, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Norman McColman. Be it resolved that Appendix A, no parking zones of the City of Summerside Traffic and Parking Bylaw CS-27 be amended to designate the north side of Green Street between Spring Street and Summer Street from no parking to allow parking, and to designate the south side of Green Street between Spring Street and Summer Street as a no parking zone. This bears a recommendation of the Committee of the Whole meeting of May 2nd, 2023.
Do you want me to call for the,
I didn't know if I was supposed to.
You
or
can,
we do
yeah.
it? Okay, so.
yeah, as a representative of Police Services?
Sure. Okay, so all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, and resolution carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. That was moved and seconded as well? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Next up, we have Councillor McDougall. Councillor, you've got 4 resolutions there as Chair of Finance Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. And we do have our legal counsel on line. Ian, are you there?
I am indeed, Councillor McDougall. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And maybe there's a grants bylaw. If you'd like to do a little preamble into this, just for council.
Certainly. Thank you, Councillor McDougall, Your Worship, members of council. It's great to be here with you this evening, and thank you for accommodating my request to appear virtually this evening. I was hit by a bit of a stomach bug today, and I'm just dealing with that here now. So the request was received by the city from the Silver Fox in regards to a guaranteeing the repayment of a loan. And
Ian, we're on
Yeah.
the grants one first. The procedural revisions to the CS4 grants. Maybe you didn't have anything with that one. I'll read those up. There's two
No.
resolutions.
Sorry, Councillor Julie. Yeah, I can proceed. So
Okay.
as a result of that request, we kind of decided to take a look at the grants bylaw just to ensure that it was up to date, just kind of explaining the rationale for how we got here.
Okay.
So we took a look at the grants bylaw and determined that some of the grant-making authority that's provided by the Municipal Government Act was not included in the bylaw that was enacted in 2018. And so the bylaw that's before you right now, the bylaw to amend the grants bylaw, moves the ball forward in that respect. So I've prepared a short description of the bylaw, and I would just note that pursuant to Section 125 of the Municipal Government Act, and I understand that Mr. Howerlick has made copies of the bylaw available to the public on the table at the front of the gallery.
Right.
And that where a bylaw has been made available to the public at or prior to the meeting in which the proposed bylaw is to be read, the reading may consist of a recitation of the bylaw name and number and a brief description of its effect. So I would, we've got here a bylaw CS-4-1-A. Its title is a bylaw to amend the grants bylaw, and a short description is that bylaw CS-4-1-A is a bylaw to make certain procedural revisions to the grants bylaw, to authorize the full complement of grant-making powers provided by Section 158 of the Municipal Government Act, and to confirm the authority of the CAO to issue grants in the amount of $500 or less to qualifying organizations in the absence of formal application and reporting procedures.
Great. Thank you, Ian. I'll read the two resolutions that goes with that, and it's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas the proposed procedural revisions to CS-4 grants bylaw to authorize the full complement of grant-making powers provided by Section 158 of the Municipal Government Act, and to confirm the authority of the CAO to issue grants in the amount of $500 or less to qualifying organizations in the absence of a formal application and reporting procedures. Be it resolved that CS-4-1-A bylaw to amend grants bylaw CS-4 be hereby read a first time. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, nay. Motion carried. Next resolution is Resolution COS 23-070, and it's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas CS-4-1-A bylaw to amend the grants bylaw CS-4 was read a first time at this council meeting. Be it resolved that CS-4-1-A bylaw to amend the grants bylaw CS-4 be hereby referred back to the Finance Committee for a review and recommendation. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor McCollum.
I accidentally missed, and I don't know if this is tying in with the same one, but I wonder if there's at some point in time that we could get an answer to, in CS-4-1A, Section 9, 5B, the lending of money or guaranteeing repayment of a loan. I'm just not really clear on that since you're speaking of $500.
That's on the next one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll rescind that question.
I believe, is it not, Mr. McCarwell?
Yeah, so the amended 9.6 basically sets out that full complement of powers that the Municipal Government Act provides, just to make it clearer within the bylaw that the city has enacted, at least in theory, that each of those forms of support are authorized. That does not relate specifically to the CAO's power of $500 or less.
Okay. Go ahead.
May I? Okay. Ian, it's Councillor McColman. In that 5, Section 9, Part B, the lending of money or guaranteeing repayment of loan, is there an amount on that? Like, I guess that's what's confusing me. I'm in the right section?
Well, it's part of the same thing, but the next resolution would be the one to question that on, I believe. So.
All right, then I'll just let it go to the next one then. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, if I may, just for the sake of clarity, 9.6 authorizes in a general way. It says the municipality can do these things, but it's not authorizing any specific guarantee or repayment of a loan. The Municipal Government Act has separate requirements. If you wish to approve the authorization of a loan or guaranteeing the repayment of a loan, you actually have to do a separate bylaw, and that's what the later resolutions about bylaw CS 38 are about.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, Ian. Any more questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Contra nay. Motion carried. Next resolution is COS 23-071, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas the Municipal Government Act requires there be a bylaw which specifically authorizes a loan guarantee and which sets out the terms of the loan, the principal and the interest rate, the terms of the guarantee, and the terms of respect and security which the city will require. And whereas bylaw CS-38 authorizes the city to guarantee the repayment of a portion of a loan provided by Consolidated Credit Union Limited to Silver Fox Curling and Yacht Club, Inc. Be it resolved that CS-38 Silver Fox Loan Guarantee 2023 bylaw be hereby read a first time. Is there any questions on the resolution? All in favor signify by saying aye. Contra nay. Motion carried. 1 nay. Okay, the next resolution is Resolution COS 23-072, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas CS-38 Silver Fox Loan Guarantee 2023 bylaw was read a first time at this council meeting. Be it resolved that the CS-238 Silver Fox Loan Guarantee 2023 bylaw be hereby referred back to the Finance Committee for a review and recommendation. Is there any question on the resolution? Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to, I guess, I know I wasn't present, like at some point when we were discussing this whole thing, and I'm glad that it's going to the Finance Committee to sort of look through it all over and make the recommendation, because I wouldn't certainly be comfortable without that. You know, so yeah, no, just thanks to everybody for sending it to Finance Committee first.
Appreciate that. All in favor? I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just wanted to echo that comment as well. I know that it's an excellent organization, but I did have some questions, and I really feel that we need that meeting with Finance Committee just to kind of hash out some of the questions that we have.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That's why we want to send it back there. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contra nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Back to you, Chief.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, your worship, members and council. I guess that's all that I've been asked to be here for this evening, so unless there's anything else, I would take my leave.
Hope you feel better soon, Ian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.
This point, we'll move into item 7, reports. We'll begin with a report from Finance Representative and Chair of Finance Committee, Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a report here done up by Director Kristen. And good evening to my colleagues on City Council and the businesses and the residents of the City of Summerside. We're preparing for our external auditors, Grant Thornton LLP, to come on site for our annual audit. Our preliminary results project a small surplus for 2022-23. We'll begin reporting 23-24 year-to-date results starting with our June monthly report. Per Section 175-1 of the Municipal Government Act, the municipality shall provide the government of PEI a copy of our audited financial statement and auditor's report no later than October 15th. A few reminders to our utility customers. Number 1, a customer portal is available where you can review your account details, access your utility bills, and make payments by credit card or Visa or debit. Please see our website at www.summerside.ca and click on My Utilities in the top right-hand corner to access this portal. Or you can contact us at 902-432-1230 and we can send you an invitation to create your account. Number 2, a budget billing program which calculates a fixed monthly installment based on the prior 12-month period is available for residential customers. The application form is available on the website also. The status of our utility accounts receivable as of May 9th, 2023 is as follows. Total overdue balance is $246,000 compared to $216,400 at May 6, 2022. Approximately 15.5% or $38,300 of the overdue balance is greater than 60 days past due. And this compares to 7.9% of our $17,000 at May 6, 2022. Disconnections for non-payment are occurring, and we strongly encourage customers who have an outstanding utility balances that are greater than 60 days to address their overdue balances. Now that disconnections for non-payment have resumed, we should see the trend of our 60 days past due balances start to decrease. The table attached to this report shows the overdue balance totals for the last 6 months compared to the same 6-month period in 2022. Thank you for the opportunity to present this report. Neither myself or the Director of Finance are available to take any questions. Any questions?
Just one question. I see that now where it says that now disconnections are starting for non-payments. Is there still sort of efforts that are ongoing to make arrangements for people that may be having difficulty for that sort of thing? Okay.
Yes, we do give them opportunity.
Yeah. Okay, if that's everything, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Moving on to Emergency Services Representative, Councillor Adams.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Thank you to Ken Culleton for providing the Fire Services report this month. So this would capture April 2023. There were 27 calls paged out during this month. These are things such as medical first responder, alarm panels, electric fires, carbon monoxide, outdoor fire violations, smoke complaints, smells of smoke, vehicle fires, grass fires, and false alarms. And then there was also canceled calls. Firefighters trained for 253.5 hours in April. Working on training was on ground ladders, fighting woodland and forestry fires. There was some work at the PEI Fire School, pump operations, medical first responder, and extraction exercise with the Jaws of Life. Summerside firefighters participated in the annual boot drive for muscular dystrophy at the Atlantic Superstore. We'd like to give a huge thank you to all the residents who stopped by and contributed. A check was presented to the association in the amount of $6,500. PEI is one of the participating provinces in the Canadian Resuscitation Outcomes Consortium. Patients in this study are those who have received chest compressions and or defibrillation from first responding fire departments and paramedics in an emergency situation. Our first responders were involved in one of these patients surviving and later being discharged from the Prince County Hospital. We were presented with a certificate of recognition that reads, presented to the Summerside Fire Department in recognition of giving a patient a second chance at life by the return of spontaneous circulation. And this will be proudly displayed at the fire hall. And I'll move on to Summerside Police Services. And once again this year, the Summerside Police Services showed their support for Special Olympics when a large number of the members braved the frigid waters in Rustico for the island athletes. They raised a substantial amount of funds for the cause. The police service hosted the junior mayor and council by educating them in the operations of a police service. I believe the most exciting part of their tour was the presentation by Constable Grant McLeod in the forensic lab. And it should be noted that even the RCMP come to use our forensic lab, so it is, Grant does great work over there. We have seen a substantial increase in traffic enforcement since the implementation of the traffic section. In 2022, from January 1st to the end of April, there were 301 tickets issued and 76 written warnings. In the same time frame in 2023, there were 616 tickets issued and 193 written warnings. The traffic enforcement has doubled in the city since the traffic section has been put in place. And I know that residents are calling in and we're passing on areas of concern. So if there's an area of concern, please feel free to pass that on, and we'll make sure the traffic section is aware of it. During the month, SBS hosted a psychologist from the Public Safety Personnel Counseling. They invited other police services in the area for an information session for members on available mental health counseling through this program. It is based at the University of Regina. There was a senior member attended a provincial police training committee meeting to draft new domestic violence protocols for police on PEI. And we had a member assist the Atlantic Police Academy with certifying the cadets on carbine rifle training. The school resource officer did a presentation to students at Parkside School regarding online safety, cyberbullying, and safe relationship. Guidance counselors have referred several students who they thought the SRO might be able to mentor and leave a positive impact on. The police service have received several positive comments from the school personnel on the wonderful work Constable Gina Lisa has been doing with their students. The major crime unit, the school resource officer, and the outreach worker, Dave Ellis, have a presentation planned at Tosh Cafeteria on May 10th, so this has already occurred, and they spoke with parents and students on sharing intimate images, sexual assault, etc., involving children that are at various stages in the school system. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Councillor Adams? Hearing none, Councillor Gallant, representative of Municipal Services.
Good evening, Your Worship, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Greg Goody for doing the report for Municipal Works. Public Works, water, sewer, utility highlights. Public Works installed new traffic signals this month at Greenwood Drive and around Parkside School as requested and approved by Council. As the Public Works Department has now finished the winter season, the work for road maintenance is recurring this month, and the asphalt plant will be starting late May, early June. Traffic line painting will start later this month with overnight temperatures to rise so that it can cure. If we get 21 day and 8 the next, chances are this is not going to happen. The water sewer utilities have begun supporting capital works by contractors starting a little bit earlier this year in the city. The capital works on Cedar Street and Central Street are being upgraded this month. The annual report for both water and sewer systems will be posted on the city websites this month. Electrical utility highlights. The growth for the electrical utility for the start of the development season is surpassing last year, with customers transitioning to electric heat sources and popular growth fueling and needed for housing start. It is expected the growth from 2023 to 2024 will surpass 2022-2023 year. The Sunbank Beam tree planting along Putter's Lane and Bayview Drive is to begin late May and to be completed by early June. water treatment plant. Biosol hauling of the spring fertilizing efforts have begun with the water being emptied. Contractors required received the roofing of Notre Dame Street and the new steels have been received, and the cleaning of the air pool for limescale was done as well. Public Works. Street sweeping and cleaning began this month and now it will continue until the end of November. Crews continue to pave and patch few potholes with coal patch. Garbage has been picked up along Compton Road. Street sign repair continued this month. Main areas are the Lafergie subdivision area. Water and sewer utilities. 24 water samples were taken with clear bacteria results. 14 water chemical samples were taken with water sample wells. 12 samples were taken for pyramids. Wilmot well field Ross repaired this month. 22 water service turn-on, turn-offs. 15 water service repairs this month. 9 service calls. Electrical utilities. Meter changes continue for 2023-2024. Boardwalk light panels between Casely Auto, repaired. Substation lights repaired. 4 heat for less service calls. Repaired traffic bulbs at Heather Moyes and Granville Street intersection. Replaced traffic green bulb on Granville and Walker intersection. Repaired crosswalk light at Greenfield School by South Drive. Install wire pole 54 Granville Street, the tops to floors building. Power line personal efforts consisted of Oak Street power lines were rebuilt, Ottawa Street upgrades were completed, and Lily Street power lines were rebuilt. Any questions on my report?
Not a question, well, yeah, I guess it is a question, but not specific to anything you said in the report, but I've been receiving a lot of calls and inquiries from residents specifically in my area because throughout my area there's a lot of new poles going in.
Mm-hmm.
The existing poles are still there, but in some areas they're not. So it's either a new pole with the existing pole is no longer there. The question continues to be around the soil that comes out. So if you go around any new pole in this city, there's great big mounds of soil around the poles. Several of the poles were installed last year. When they inquired about it, they were told that they leave the soil because then when they pull the other pole out, the soil goes in, which makes a lot of sense to me. But as I drive through, I see poles where there's no pole next to it, and there's still clumps of soil, and it's a large amount. I guess my question would be, and this is not an answer that I'm looking for an answer now, but if you could bring back to the electrical department and see what the plan is to make sure that that just doesn't get left throughout the city. It is significant mounds of poles, and usually in a lot of the residents that mentioned me are seniors, elderly ones, and are concerned about it. So I told them I would bring it up at the next council meeting and see what answer I could get from it. I know we have some issues with the, say, Bell Alliant or Eastlink or whoever the service telecom communication people are, and waiting for them to remove their wires and put it on our poles. So hopefully we can sort of push them along to get their work done, because I know that's holding up some of the other work that needs to be done. But if you can just pass that along, that we're starting to get some inquiries on it, that'd be
Sure,
great.
I will definitely do that, Deputy Sam. Thank
Thanks.
you. Okay.
Just one question. It sort of comes up every year, but it seems to fade away. Also, just with the topic of painting the lines, it seems every year we're asked, when is it going to be done and why isn't it lasting? And I know we've looked into the reasons why it has to keep being redone, which is, like the environmental reasons and the certain products we can use. But can we, I don't know, maybe go a little bit further and really check in to see if there's any alternative products available that last? It seems like every other city, they don't seem to have this problem, at least from my very quick research anyway. I see JP's light just turned on. There might be he might shut me down here right quick. No? Okay.
No, not shutting down at all. Just staff are aware, as you know, of the challenges fit from an environmental perspective of the types of products we're allowed to use. They are researching additional options, but there's certainly no magic solution out there thus far. The bigger challenge becomes how much more does council want to invest in additional either internal or external sources to do the painting to get it done on a timeline that's more suitable for council. So if it's direction from staff to staff to come back with that, amount and further discussion, we can do so. Okay. But it really is more of a human resource issue versus a product issue.
Sure, okay. And I obviously I can't speak for everybody, but personally, I'd certainly be willing to explore paying a little more for something that lasts a long time versus getting into late summer and the lines are painted and then it just to fade again. So certainly be interested in hearing what the options are regardless of cost, and then when it comes to the cost, we can decide that at the time. But
Okay, I will definitely bring your questions forth.
I think another thing too was important to note is that we don't do all the lines. We rely on the province to do the white.
In specific areas in the city, that we bring in the line truck. By lack of a better term, I don't know what it's specifically called, but the province has a line truck that can accommodate the larger sections that we just couldn't do fast enough. Province has us on a fairly low level in terms of their priorities compared to the rest of the province, which I suppose is understandable. But just for the record, I'm 99% sure they use the same product as we do.
Yeah. Yep. And I did ask last year, and they had the same issues with it wearing out. So.
Some would indicate that our plowing standards are so high that's why our line painting's bad, but that's just something I'll throw in there.
Yeah, well.
I'll turn my mic off.
Yeah, you better.
I also have just one quick little question there, Councillor Glamp, perhaps for next meeting. If you could just update us on the number of new Heat for Less customers so far this year. I recall it was an aggressive target set within our budget, and I'd be curious to know how we're moving along towards meeting that target.
Okay, not a problem.
Next up, Councillor Morrison, representative of Community Services and Tourism.
Thank you, Your Worship. Once again, this here reports, of course, was done up by Director JP, I should say slash, I guess, or CAO. Credit Union Place was busy throughout the month of April, with spring edition of swimming lessons in full swing, along with the newly offered Learn to Bowl program taking off in the lanes. The ice makers removed ice inside the Island Petroleum Energy Center and have begun their annual maintenance to the arena to prepare for the fall season. Loverboy and special guest Kim Mitchell rocked Credit Union Place in April, and sure had Summerside loving every minute of it. The Dome was a busy bubble during the month of April, gearing up for another busy summer season. With over 300 people attending the annual and much-loved Easter egg hunt inside the Dome, where community members could book a 1-hour time slot to enjoy many Easter activities, including face painting, coloring, and even meeting the Easter Bunny face-to-face. Softball PEI Winter League has concluded, seeing many participants from all over the island traveling to Summerside to take part in the first year of the league. The organizers are looking forward to next year's league and the progression that it has carried throughout year one. As per usual, the Dome has continued taking bookings from user groups such as Soccer PEI, Baseball PEI, Summerside United Soccer, Summerside Baseball, and many other sports organizations across the island. Many youths celebrated and attended birthday parties in the month of April, as well as a very popular time travel themed PD Day Camp. Active Living Summerside has already begun gearing up for this year's Shipwrights Run and will be promoting registration strongly over the next few months across their social media platforms. Registration is now open for summer camps as well as, and is quickly booking up for the summer. To register, please follow Active Living Summerside on Facebook to stay up to date on all the ways to stay active in Summerside. The Veterans Convention Center inside Credit Union Place had 46 bookings in April, along with 14 oval bookings. Within those meetings and conventions, they seen Skills PEI Job Fair, TOPS Conference, and Micmac Confederacy hosting multiple two-day conferences throughout the month of April. Dropping the page and picking up the weight now, PEI powerlifting event took place inside the VCC and seen close to 500 spectators from across the island throughout the one-day event. And if there's any questions, we'll attempt to answer them.
Not a question, but just a comment. My daughter took part in the Winter Softball League through softball. So I spent a lot of time there during the winter months with people from all across the island. And the jealousy that you've seen from people in other communities, especially Charlottetown, Stratford, those type of communities wanting that type of facility in their community, and how fortunate we are to have that facility in our community. It's quite impressive. So I know there's a cost to running any type of facility, but there's also a huge benefit. So it's nice to see people traveling the other way to partake in some of the things that we have here in our city. So.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's a great facility and constantly being used, which is a good thing, and there's nothing that we in Summerside like to have people from across the island come in here and use our facilities and spend a few dollars while they're in town.
Thank you very much, Councillor Morrison. Next up, Councillor McColman, Representative Arts, Culture, and Diversity.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to say good evening to my fellow colleagues and Mayor Dan and anybody in the gallery and people that are watching. As far as Culture Summerside and Wyatt Heritage Properties Incorporated, Culture and Heritage staff are currently preparing for a full summer and fall of programming that includes the Old Fashioned Carnival, Summerside Arts Festival, Diverse City Festival, concerts in the garden, Ghost Walk, and a full roster of museum tours at all of the heritage and cultural sites around Summerside. Museum collections, the work continues on cataloging and management of the Wyatt and Fox Museum collections and the appraisal of the archival collections. Additional work will soon begin on the Bishop Machine Shop Museum collection. Summer staff for Culture Summerside is again in the process of hiring to fill museum and programming positions. Interviews have been completed and staff are now being hired. 7 students will join the team for the summer months. Summerside Lobster Carnival, which is one of our mainstay festivals in Summerside. The Lobster Supper tickets are now on sale. Tickets for the July 7th and 8th Lobster and cold cut suppers are now on sale through Summerside Lobster Carnival online store, and you can visit the Summerside Lobster Carnival, all lowercase.ca, to purchase your tickets. The Summerside Chrysler Dodge and Warren Ellis Family Amateur Country Music Singing Competition joins other carnival favorites for the 2023 edition. Those interested in registering for the parade, the cardboard boat races, lobster trap stacking competition, or the biscuit and roll or trivia can do so at summersidelobstercarnival.ca. That's a lot to say. Registration for the country music singing competition will open soon, and the carnival's full schedule is available online, so it is certainly a great event. On exhibit, remaining on view at the Lafergie Culture Center, is a group exhibition called Everyone Has a Story, organized by artist Vivian Aho. This is part of our 60 Days of Fame exhibition series, and the show remains open for the remainder of the month of May. The next exhibit in the series is from the PEI Craft Council and will feature work created on the topic of Fiona. Also on exhibit in June will be the works from student artists of the graduating class of Three Oaks Senior High. And just on a note of some different cultural events that I did attend, as well as Mayor Dan and some with Deputy Mayor Corey, the National Volunteer Week at College of Piping. I know Mayor Dan was there and I also attended. And of course, for that entertainment was Patrick Ledwell and Mark Haynes. And it was an appreciation for all guests. And I apologize, also Councillor Barb was there. And it was a full house, and it was just to show a great deal of appreciation for the many volunteers that help in the performing arts across Summerside and beyond. As well, I attended the Harbourfront Theatre, as well as Dan Mayer did, with family. Ventastic, which was for families and children, and it was a ventriloquist. And a great evening for young people. There was so much laughing and just the imagination. I'd also like to give a shout out to Fandango Performing Arts Group, and I may have the name incorrectly saying it, but they did Fandango on Broadway at the College of Piping, and just a super job. And that's all local people, all volunteers that are not paid. They pay a lot of money for, you know, costumes and the theater. And our own junior mayor, La Rice, was part of that performing troupe. So pretty proud of seeing her in that. The other thing I do want to point out is that we also did attend Mayor Dan, Deputy Mayor Corey, and myself, the Immigrant Refugee Settlement Association. Their official opening took place at the Chamber of Commerce building on Greenwood Drive on Friday, and that was very well attended. And also, just on a personal note for all of the wards, we have discussed it quite a bit as a council and mayor. Many residents at this time of year are calling or sending emails on their concerns over properties with garbage, debris, vacant properties, and I just want to make our residents aware that city and city council were so aware of it and of your concerns, and there is an ongoing effort, work, and discussions that are happening behind the scenes to deal with these concerns, and we're hoping through the policy bylaw officer. So I just want to make sure that people know that it's not going unnoticed. There is a lot of effort going on behind the scenes. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor McColman. Next up, Councillor Duran, representative of Technical Services and Chair of Planning Board.
Okay, thank you again, Your Worship. I'd like to begin by thanking Director of Technical Services, Aaron McDonald, for preparing the report. 23 building permits with a value of just over $2.1 million were issued for the month of April, which that's for a year-to-date total of $19.4 million. We issued permits for 5 change of uses for both commercial and residential spaces. A mix of industrial and institutional permits were issued, 3 alterations and 1 addition. On the residential side, we had permits issued for 4 semi-detached units, 1 single-family unit, 1 alteration, 1 deck, and 1 demolition permit. Staff continued with other various follow-up inspections for the projects that have been previously permitted this season. Staff continue to review various projects and consult with developers who have a number of projects in the plan preparation stage. A couple apartment complexes recently broke ground, a 24-unit on Schooner Street off of Water Street East, and a 31-unit building on Lafergie Avenue. As we mentioned, developers are stopping in and speaking to staff for assistance with their proposed projects for next year. And now is also a great time for our citizens to ask for assistance with their projects that they may have planned for this summer. In addition to that, just an update, maybe not necessarily an update, but the Central Street, I think it's the water main project from Maple North. I haven't heard any different, so I expect that it's still scheduled to be completed mid to late July, as was the case I think last month. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, so I think it's still on schedule, but I'll find out for sure. I know a lot of people have been asking about that. If there are any other questions, I'd be happy to attempt to answer them or find someone that can in a short amount of time. And if not, I'll hand it back over to Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. Moving on to item G, Deputy Mayor Snow, representative of Economic Development and Growth.
Thank you, Your Worship. The following is a brief update from the Office of Economic Development. The Economic Development Association of Canada, the planning and execution of the National Economic Development Association Conference is coming together. We expect 300 delegates in the prime shoulder season. This conference will provide major economic boost for Summerside, along with significant opportunity to welcome international delegates and speakers from around the world. The office, being the host of this conference, is working hard behind the scenes, putting all the logistical details together. Client servicing, the department continues to be on the go for all the locations. No, the department continues to be the go-to location for all things growth, innovation, and investment for Summerside. With client servicing cresting at over 100 unique inquiries alone since our last report, Summerside is certainly topping many investors and business minds for growth. Under the industrial and commercial development, while the city partners continue to focus on housing side of supply, the office is remaining steely-eyed when it comes to longer-term industrial and commercial asset developments to maintain our balanced approach to the future of Summerside. With current vacancy rates coming in again at an all-time low and demand for space high, the office continues to collaborate on working on bringing new stock and investment to the community. Currently, our vacancy rate continues to hit all-time record lows, 4% retail, 3% office, 3% industrial. Remaining focused on addressing these shortcomings is a key priority of the office. One of the biggest growth challenges is finding space for those looking to come and expand within Summerside. Under labor recruitment, labor continues to be a #1 priority focus for the office. The office is working hard with partners to address the gaps, develop solutions, and programs to heighten the awareness of the vast and exciting opportunities here in Summerside. That is the report from the Economic Development Office. If there's any questions, I'd gladly answer.
Thank you, Deputy Snow. Move on to Councillor Adams again, Representative for Governance, Human Resources, and Communications.
Thank you, Your Worship. Student engineers were hired for the summer for technical services and municipal services departments, and summer students were hired as well for Culture Summerside. Seasonal employees have been hired for the Credit Union Place, municipal services, and green spaces. Competitions are currently underway for an IT assistant, an ice maker, and a police constable, and those are all online. Credit Union Place is seeking to hire front desk staff and bowling customer service staff, as well as lifeguards. Human resource staff are continuing to attend equity, diversity, and inclusion training. They do have here that the department provided support at various meetings this month, so maybe just as a point of interest next month, we'll include like what it is they attend and what they staff are up to. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Just a couple, well, I guess I have as well here. I'm on the list, look at that. Myself, was a representative for Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities, and I have articulated to FPIM what I'm about to tell you, which is I've just had really bad luck with scheduling an FPIM meetings. It is, I told them the other day to not take it personally. It has just been, for whatever reason, whenever FPIM has a meeting scheduled, I have something really that I can't miss. So, but luckily, Councillor McDougall is always there to carry the flag. So I have nothing to report here. And again, there's a meeting this Thursday, and once again, I have a daughter's birthday, and I sort of made a commitment not to miss kids' birthday parties. My kids, other kids, I'll skip them all day long. The council, is there anything you want to update from the last, because I think it would have been the AGM discussion there.
Yeah, we did have our AGM, but since that we've had the election and the new House is sitting now, we have wrote letters to every minister of congratulations, and we also are setting up meetings with each of the ministers in the next little bit. I know they're busy right now, they're in the House, so we and we've, our executive director is busy in the background meeting with the new minister, so it's sort of a, not much of a game right now because everything is new, right? So, but we were very pleased to see the new government set up the environment and land and communities in the one portfolio, because it was in with fisheries before, and it just we didn't think it got as much as what we needed recognition. So anyway, it's I think it's in the right spot now, and I'm got a lot of confidence that we're going to be able to move things forward. So thank you.
Thank you once again, Councillor McDougall. I will be at, I think, the next month's meeting. I think we're finally on, I think, we'll see. A couple just notes before we close out here for the evening. This Wednesday night at 6:30, May 17th, at the Credit Union Place is the Summerside Annual Awards Gala, where we have the opportunity to recognize some incredible people in our community who have been nominated and then voted on, nominated by their peers in the community and then voted on by a selection committee. And they have identified some very well-deserving community leaders here in Summerside. And Wednesday night will be an opportunity for everyone to come out, the awards to be presented, and the feel for the event this year is a little bit different in terms of there's going to be music and a celebration. It's going to be a little bit less formal and more fun, but there'll still be a really important element of the presentations, and there are some really important ones, I think, as well. There are every year, but this year as well, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's open to all members of the public at the Credit Union Place this Wednesday, May 17th at 6:30 p.m. The last thing to note, the deadline has come and passed for candidates to provide their nomination papers to Elections PEI with respect to the by-election that's happening here on May 29th for Ward 3. This will be our last council meeting as a group of 7. So we will be going back to 8 at our next council meeting. I am sure all of you will join me in wishing all of the 7 candidates the best of luck. I know we can look at it one of two ways. There's either, geez, we're doing such a bad job that people can't wait to get in here and fix it, or people really want to be part of where our community is going and be part of something exciting, and I'm certainly on the second team. But I look forward to seeing the results of that, and I know all of you will join me in welcoming new councillor at our next meeting. Great, so with that, I will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you very much, council. Yeah, I think, can we take a statement from the public? Yeah, sure. I think we can do that right at the end, so I won't adjourn the meeting yet.
You just have to turn the microphone on. There's a switch on it. On the microphone itself.
Give it a test there, Ivy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry I was upset before. My name is Ivy Inkpen. I work for Peers Alliance as a rural peer lead, handing out harm reduction supplies to people that are drug addicted within Summerside. I'd like to make a recommendation to Carrie Adams to find out in regards to, I was told paramedics are supposed to capture the data on the overdoses in the city. We've had 13 overdoses that I'm aware of in April. I don't know if those overdoses are recorded with the emergency response team, because sometimes the emergency response team does not attend every single overdose. I know of 3 people who have died due to drug overdose. There is a team in Summerside and West Prince that are trying to help the addicts in the city. And we've got a real problem because there's some really toxic stuff on the streets right now that are harming people. It's mixed in with the fentanyl. It's mixed in with the meth. It's mixed in with the cannabis. It's called Trank. I think it's called xylazine. And it's on the streets of Summerside. And if we don't capture this and we don't educate people within this city, we're going to have a lot of people pass away. There's too many overdoses that I've seen in the last 6 months that I've been working within as the homeless helper, but also in the last couple of months that I've seen on the streets that does not get reported. And I would like to make the recommendation to emergency services that they capture that data somehow and report back to City Council in regards to the number of overdoses that are actually happening in this city. We've got some serious problems, guys. And I mean serious. Thank you very much. And again, I apologize for my outburst earlier. I was really upset. I feel that we can sit around and we talk about culture. We talk about entertainment. We talk about the wonderful cup that we have. We talk about finances. We talk about building permits and housing and how wonderful everybody's all trying to work together. But we're forgetting about the homeless people that are on the street. There's 33 people in the city today that are living on the streets in the woods. And Dan Kutcher, you kicked them all out of the Heather Moyes Park. And I don't like that. The cops came by, the city staff came by. They said, you have to leave or we're going to take all your tents and all your supplies. I drove around the city for 2.5 hours trying to find some place to hide these people in the woods so they won't be found. The shelter's open. I don't know how many people are in the shelter, but I'll tell you one thing. We got 33 on the streets, and we're facing 5 evictions for seniors in the city that cannot afford the rent. I want you all to think about that, and I want you all to work together in regards to a solution, a place for these people instead of sitting inside the woods someplace, hiding out, ruining the public parks. We need to work together. I haven't heard anybody say anything about the homeless tonight. Not one thing. They're the most vulnerable people in this entire city, and they're being left behind. And I'm here as a voice for them. It's no more being left behind. We got to put these people first to help them get out of the situation that they're in. And I'll keep coming back to City Council every single month to voice my concern until I see something that's going to happen in this city. People should not be left behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Ivy, and certainly on the first point with respect to maybe we can, it is a real live question as to how do we track overdoses in our community, and certainly it's not going to be from just one specific location. A lot of overdoses will probably happen that we don't even know about, that people don't end up in emerge or through an ERT team. But if we can connect with the police services to find out what we can do to try and get a better handle on that, particularly as we see more and more virulent and stronger street drugs continuing to hit the market, that can just simply taking that information and sharing that publicly can help save lives. I know I've been to Peers Alliance and met with them, so absolutely. And on the housing, absolutely, 100%. We do talk quite a bit, as much as on how much our unhoused population is growing, what we're anticipating and expecting in the future. We spoke about that at our last committee of the whole meeting quite a bit. And it is a very real concern. It is a very real concern of ours. It's a real concern of yours, and then all of the individuals in our community who are unhoused or on the pathway towards being unhoused. And that's why it's so important to try and find pathways to get those individuals housed. It's nice to see the Winter Street shelter. I was there at the opening last week, 6 beds, and I don't know either, Ivy, how many people are there yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it was already full. there simply are not enough places for people to go. There are not enough services to be able to support those individuals, to be able to help them transition outside of that the situation they're in, and to give them a better chance. And I hear it every couple of days from people who say they just do not, one, know how they're going to pay the rent if their rent is being increased based on how much they're earning or what they're living on their fixed income. And not everyone has a family to go to or a couch to crash on. And it is a very real, very live and scary situation for way too many in our community. And I hope we don't end up in some cycle here where we have large unhoused population in the summers, and then people move back into some motels if they're available in the winter. It's certainly why we reached out to Minister Lance to talk about housing. We do need to work with all levels of government here. I'm glad to see affordable housing being built today on Lafergie. I'm looking forward to more, but we're just not keeping pace, and we're trying to do our best to try and figure out what we can do to do that, and what kind of support we can get from other levels of government in particular to be able to put forward some services and units and buildings and places for people to live in, because no one should be living in a tent. It's not good for individuals. It's not a safe place. It's not a place that is comfortable. It's not a place that you want to be for any extended period of time. And you also don't want to have people living in parks when there's programming and people, kids' camps going on there. So this is a really, really difficult discussion and a very serious issue. And that's why we also met on Friday. We had our second housing task force focused on solutions, and there were a number of individuals there, including Life House Shelter for women and children, working together with developers, lenders, others in the not-for-profit sector to try and figure out what solutions we can do, move forward here as a municipal government, and what solutions we need to be pushing other levels of government who have the resources and ability to be able to provide those services and support structures that are so desperately needed. So, and then underlying all of it is our continued push here to get as much housing built across the spectrum to create spaces and places for people to be able to live when there's a 0.5% vacancy rate that we're facing here in Summerside. Prices for rentals and homes will not go down. They will continue to be more and more unaffordable, and that is one piece that we're also trying to work on. So absolutely take all of your comments. It is super, super important, and for all different reasons, but most above, the individuals who are the most vulnerable in our community. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now I will adjourn.
Can I just say
yes,
something?
Of course.
Your
Oh, yes,
Worship?
yeah.
Okay. I can't see Ivy, but I just wanted to make a point. Certainly, we can appreciate the passion in your heart and how you feel about it. I guess I look at it, there's so many needs, but I think I can speak for Mayor and Council that as many applications that do come in, we certainly want to try. Tonight there was just one for a daycare and housing through the Boys and Girls Club. So as those applications come in, we're not sitting silently. We're trying to make that happen. We recognized a group of people that are out there all of the time providing meals. They're trying to work with people who are isolated. So yes, what you're saying, there is such a need, and with the drugs, we understand that. But we can only do so much. It takes the whole community working together. We know that. But we can only do so much as those opportunities come in for housing or whatnot. We cannot tell private hotels, you can't do that. Like, we're trying as hard as we can, and I find it's a little bit disheartening to the people that are out there really working hard, that really want to help, and I think it's taking us all trying to work together. So I guess I just want you to know that we're not sitting and not trying to do something. We're really trying hard, but it takes the applications and people coming forward with that. And I know how hard you work to make those things happen. So I appreciate you bringing that information so that we're aware of it. But sometimes it's just really hard when we're here and we're trying to do it. People might not see the effort and the work that's going on behind the scenes, but there's a lot. And we're trying to work through the provincial government and the federal. You might not believe that, but I can tell you honestly, that's the truth. You can shake your head all you want. Thank you.
Thanks, Counselor. And just to note too, Peers Alliance was one of the recipients of the community support grants that we talked about earlier tonight, along with a number of other organizations. So now I'm going to call for the meeting to adjourn, and this time it's final. Oh, do you have it? No, I thought you were like, oh, that's scary. So I don't even need to move. I can just adjourn it. But it's already happened twice. Thank you.